Disclaimer, this is a brief English translation of the online investor conference that took place on August 13, 2020. Any discrepancy or contradiction in between, the Chinese language version shall prevail.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kista Corporation 2020 second quarter online investor conference. I am Chief Financial Officer Jasmine Hung. The conference is held by Chairman Peter Chen, myself. Presidents of each business groups also participate in this conference, namely Zhou Huang, President of Information Technology Products Group; April Huang, President of Commercial and Industrial Products Group; Harry Yang, President of Medical Devices Group; Michael Li, President of Business Solutions Group; Chief Investment Officer Michael Wang. Today's conference time will be an hour, and the agenda is as follows. At beginning, Jasmine will explain the financial results and business summary for the second quarter of 2020. Afterwards, Chairman Mr. Chen will share Kista's operating overview and future prospects, and then we will have Q&A session. You may put your questions by using question area at the bottom of the WebEx. We will sort out all the questions and summarize responses. Before starting the conference, we would like to remind you that the disclaimer of today's discussions may contain forward-looking statements that are subject to significant risk, and please refer to the disclaimer notice on page 4 of slides. Thank you. Now we move to our conference, which will briefing by Jasmine. First, to illustrate the financial results and business summary second quarter of 2020, the beginning because affected by COVID-19, resulting in Asia closed city and the supply chain shortage, so that we in the first quarter operations are also greatly affected. In the first quarter of this year, we still maintain positive profitability and net income. During the second quarter, the whole world is still under the effect of pandemic. Due to the fleet synergy and prompt adjustment of the strategy, the overall profit rebounded in the second quarter. The performance of the second quarter is better than the first quarter. The revenue increased 11% and the profit increased threefold. Please refer to the second column for the financial results of the second quarter. Consolidated revenue was 43.6 billion, compared to the first quarter, which was 39.2 billion, the amount increased 4.4 billion and grew 11%. The gross margin was 13.6%. Rebounded 0.2% from the first quarter. Operating income was 1.435 billion, which increased 0.4 billion and grew 11% than the first quarter. The operating margin rate was 3.3%, grew 0.7% from the first quarter. Non-operating profit was 0.392 billion, turned to positive from negative 0.398 billion, 0.79 billion. Profit after tax was 1.2 billion. The amount attributed to the parent company was 0.94 billion. Compared to the amount of the first quarter, which was 0.23 billion, the profit after tax increased 0.7 billion, 3 times of the first quarter. EPS of the quarter was 0.48, increased 0.23 than the first quarter. The revenue increased 2.4 billion, which was 6% growth comparing to the same period of the last year. Because of the strike of COVID-19, the profit after tax attributable to the parent company reduced by 93 million. The EPS decreased slightly by 0.05 comparing to the same period last year. The profitability of the second quarter would gradually keep up with the same period of the last year. Please refer to the comparison statement of the same period. The consolidated revenue of the first half of the year was 82.87 billion, that increased 2% of the first quarter, which was 81.088 billion. The operating margin was 13.5%. The operating profit was 2.472 billion. The net profit rate was 3%. The net income of the group was 1.6 billion, the amount attributed to the parent company was 1.18 billion. The EPS in the first half year was 0.6, slightly decreased than the same period of last year. The main reason was the gap between the first quarter this year and the same period of last year. Non-operating net profit was negative 6 million. The EPS was 16.69. The amount and proportion of the consolidated balance is not too much different from the past. On June 30, 2020, total assets were 138.2 billion. Cash was 15.4 billion, increased 4.6 billion. Mainly due to cash inflow 5.8 billion from operating activity. Financial liabilities of 39.3 billion which supported the growth of M&A. Total liabilities were 9.1 billion. Debt ratio remains unchanged at 66%. Total equity was 47.1 billion and significant financial indicators remain at the same level. The operating turnover days were 75 days, increased of 7 days. The operating turnover amount was 25.1 billion, decreased 3.2 billion from the end of 2019. The increase of turnover days mainly due to the impact of COVID-19, the advanced preparation of shipments, industrial characteristics, and product. The average of return of equity was 6.7%. The current ratio was 120%. The financial debt ratio was 28%. Consolidated revenue and product differentiation. The revenue proportion of high value-added new business reached 22% in the second quarter. Comparing to the ratio of the first half year 13%, increased about 10%. The revenue of Business Solution Group accounted for more than 15%. Increase 7% which is 2 times than the same period of the last year. Maintain at the same level comparing to last year. This concludes the financial performance of the second quarter. We hand over the time to Chairman Chen to share the overview of business operations and the company's future prospects.
Hello, everyone. I am Peter Chen, Chairman of Kista Corporation. I will share our performance and profitability so far and future prospects of the group. First, COVID-19 posed great challenges to us. We can see from the first quarter presents a comparison of different results season. The first quarter was affected by supply side, which is located in Southeast Asia or China. The second quarter was affected by the demand side as COVID-19 pandemic heat up in Europe and the States, which significantly decreased the demand in May and June. In general, the impact of COVID-19 on the entire industry is still relatively huge, especially for the third quarter of the second half of the year. Looking forward to third and fourth quarters, we can see globally more than 20 million people infected. Countries like the US, Brazil and India, they have more than 10,000 people infected on daily basis. This definitely brings uncertainty to the demand side. During the first half year, Kista's revenue maintained positive growth except January, which was due to Chinese New Year, rather than COVID-19, as we lost 1 week of production time. In regards to COVID-19, Kista has taken preventive measures, which was to maintain workforce of around 6,000 in our production sites in China during the Chinese New Year, which allows us to continue production right after Chinese New Year in February. This not only allow us to have sufficient manpower but also help the Battelle fleet and suppliers. This is how we maintain positive growth in February and March when the supply chain is severely affected by COVID-19. Kista also built up production site in Southeast Asia. We quickly decided at the end of 2019 to build production site in Vietnam, which started production in February, which is very fast. The above measures allow us to grow revenue to 82.0 billion comparing to 81 billion in 2019. In addition, many new members joined the battle fleet, such as Sisage, Awin, and Ace Pillar joined the group in 2019. They have contributed to our total revenue. This is the result of the preventive measures we have been talking about. However, from profitability perspective, our EPS in the first quarter was only 0.12. Two major factors led to low level of EPS, which are COVID-19's impact of profitability and hospital business. Starting from February, hospital business was severely affected by COVID-19, which makes people reluctant to go to hospital. Our hospitals are in Suzhou and Nanjing, which decreased revenue by 50%. From second quarter, hospital business recovered and contribute positively. From non-operating perspective, panel business also create burden on the profitability in the first quarter. However, as mentioned by CFO, the profitability in second quarter bounced back to normal level, which was 0.48. Our EPS in first half year is 0.6. This is our performance result in the first half year. Second, our vision in the future is clear, which is to have high value added business contribute over half of total revenue by 2022. Specifically in the medical business, as mentioned earlier, medical business is affected by COVID-19. However, this also brings other demand, for example, high demand for masks, medical equipment. Another example is Golden Sprit, which focus on production of disinfectant and ethyl alcohol. Global Sprit's market share in Taiwan is about 70%, which is also in short supply. This demand resulted in the recovery of medical business in second quarter. We foresee the growth in medical business to continue due to strong demand. The medical business account for major portion of our total revenue in the first half year, and is leading us to reach our vision. Thirdly, I would like to share our strategic position in 5G business. Starting from August, Alpha Networks, Hitron and Interactive Digital Technologies will contribute to the group's total revenue. Alpha Networks revenue in July was 3 billion, in July was 2.96 billion. Our holdings in Alpha Networks increased to 42.8% from 23.8% through tender offer. Why is 5G important? As I previously shared, 5G is like the rapid train, which brings Taiwan into 1 day's commute. It is the same principle in 5G. 5G would change AIoT. In the past, where there is limitation in AI due to internet speed, 5G would solve this issue and bring new applications. For example, when car speed reaches 100 km per hour, 4G would lose signal. However, in 5G, high bandwidth would solve this problem. As 5G require more base stations than 4G, this would lead to more business opportunity. This is why we get into 5G 2 years ago. Starting from August, we will have a new business group, networking business. It is clear that Kista is investing not only medical business, but also in 5G and network business. This is why we are confident that we can reach our visions, which is to have high value added business contribute over half of total revenue by 2022. Our path is to quickly reach this goal and bring higher EPS and more value to our investors. Lastly, we would like to announce that we will strengthen our communication with the investor community and held investor conference each quarter. If possible, we will have the investor conference face to face. This is to have the investor public to have more confidence in Kista and increase transparency in our strategies. Question 1. Investor Zhang asks, what is the outlook of Kista as the coronavirus pandemic continues to grow? As I explained to reporters after the shareholders meeting in June, countries such as the United States, Brazil, India, Russia, Mexico, Argentina, the coronavirus pandemic still growing fast. It is difficult to tell whether the pandemic is at peak in the US and Europe. We cannot be over-optimistic as no one can say with certainty about outlook of the pandemic. We are steering a cautious course with the outlook. In general, based on past experience, the third quarter is where the production peaks. Visibility of fourth quarter depends on the development of coronavirus pandemic. So far it appears the third quarter is the peak of this year. We believe that by catching the production peak in third quarter would create the expected revenue and profitability for the year. Question 2. Investor Zhang and Investor Ye collectively ask, what is the benefit for Kista in increasing its share in Alpha Networks? Can you confirm that the revenue and profit of Alpha Networks and Hitron Technologies will be included in the consolidated financial statements in August? As previously explained, Alpha Networks and Hitron Technologies will be included in our consolidated financial statements starting from August. While we cannot predict the future, back in June and July, both companies' combined revenue reached around NTD 3 billion and the profitability of the second quarter haven't been published. We will continue to grow the business so both companies could contribute to the consolidated performance to the expected level. Through tender offer, our stakes in Alpha Networks increased to 42.8% from 23.8%. As long as we continue to improve the profitability of Alpha Networks, its contribution to the consolidated performance will show. In the next 5 to 6 years, 5G network will roll out rapidly across the world. As we all know, 6G will be introduced around 2027 or 2028. The speed of 5G network and its application will lead to complete new experience. Therefore, our position in the 5G business is crucial. I am happy to share with you today that we would see the result of our strategic planning 2 years ago in August. Thank you. Question 3. Investor Chen would like to know the changes in volume of monitors and projectors between first and second half year as well as the outlook of this year. I will ask Joe Huang, President of Information Products Business Group, to share analysis of the general trend of the second half of the year, and April Huang, President of Commercial and Industrial Products Business Group, who is also the chairman of Alpha Networks, to share the industry trends in the second half of the year. Hello everyone, I am Joe Huang, President of Information Products Business Group. In the first quarter, the monitor industry value declined due to severe shortage in the supply chain. Situation has improved in second quarter. According to IHS and WIT's view, the global sales in the first half year declined by around 1%. In Kista's case, we have declined by about 3% due to shortage of materials and manpower. In the second half of the year, according to IHS and WIT's view estimates, the market will decline by about 1.7%. The current situation is, demand of displays for business application and industrial application have declined while the high-end applications such as gaming and large-size displays are in short supply. The order visibility is clear till November. Overall, the growth rate declined by about 2% comparing to 2019. Next, I will ask President of the Commercial and Industrial Products Business Group, April Huang, to talk about the projector business.
Hello, everyone, I am April Huang, President of the Commercial and Industrial Products Business Group, and I will report the status of the projector. The projector market is expected to decline due to product replacement, as large displays replace the role of projectors in small meeting rooms. In 2020, due to coronavirus pandemic which resulted in lockdown of schools, offices, and public assemblies, the decline of projectors market is higher than expected. However, for Kista, our decline percentage is better than the general industry. According to PMAS market research data, projector market declined by 42.6% in Q2 2020. Epson, market leader in the projector industry, declined by 57% and incurred loss in Q2. Meanwhile, Kista's projector sales in the first half year accounted to 400,000 units, which decline about 28% comparing to 2019, indicating that Kista's market share in the projector industry is improving. Looking ahead, we expect the coronavirus pandemic still taking a toll on the market demand. However, as Kista will start shipment of Pico projector in September, we expect the shipment of projectors will pick up in the second half year.
Question 4. Investor Chen and Investor Hong ask, what is the effect of coronavirus pandemic to Kista's digital? While this pandemic impact market demand, it does boost the need for digital transformation. The need to work from home and telemedicine force everyone to do digital transformation. If a company has not digitized its resources and data, its operation would be severely affected by coronavirus pandemic. The wave of digital transformation boosts new demands. For example, the sales of notebook increase, as work from home require mobility, as well as the demand for larger displays such as 27-inch, 32-inch, and 35-inch displays, as it is tiresome to stare at notebook screen for a long time. This also boosts the demand to bring data to cloud, which allows employees to grab common data everywhere and consequently increase the demand for server software and hardware. Work from home also increase the demand for video conference, which lead to the growing demand for equipment and software for video conference. For instance, we held this investor conference online. Another key factor is 5G, which is crucial to the applications previously mentioned, as they require fast connection speed, such as cable modem, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 6, 100G switch, 400G switch. High-speed infrastructure will allow smoother mobility as well as more opportunity for us. Therefore, the key of many products under developments is about digitization and cloud, allowing people who need the data with speedy access. Last but not the least, with digitization comes big data, which would bring complete new value-added services. It is said that the coronavirus pandemic will eventually pass. However, I believe that the demand for mobility will stay, as people is accustomed to mobility and productivity increases. Kista Group is also steering toward this direction to create value. Thank you. Question 5. Investor Lee asks, there are many companies such as Sysage, DFI, Awin, and Ace Pillar. How do you create synergy with each other? This is the AIoT I just talked about. Dr. Michael Lee, President of Business Solution Group, is an expert in data mining. His analysis should be very insightful. Each company in the Business Solution Group has its own unique expertise. For example, the digital transformation mentioned by Chairman Chen is our core business. The pandemic situation brings the need to minimize human contact but at the same time allow business to continue. For example, this investor conference uses equipment from Sysage. In addition, business such as factors, food processing factories, or restaurants require fewer manpower and higher output. The coronavirus pandemic amplifies the need for digital transformation. Sysage's goal is to speed up customers' digital transformation. As for Ace Pillar, it focuses on OT, operation technology. It supplies advanced equipment from Japan and Germany. We foresee that in the next decade, the integration of OT and IT, information technology, will be the biggest demand. Robotics and equipment must be connected to the cloud to truly demonstrate its application potential. As Chairman Chen said, Alpha Networks become part of Kista Group in August. Alpha Networks is one of the market leaders in CT, communication technology. The opportunity in the next decade would be the total solution of IT, CT and OT. Our goal is to bring enhanced total solution to customers, and 5G and AI is also our direction for growth. Question 6. Investor Chang asks about M&A case regarding new fleet of battleship companies join the group. When will synergy be delivered? Will the epidemic prevention related products contributing revenue? Recently, many new members join MDG, Medical Device Product Group. President of MDG, Mr. Harry Yang, will lead us to go through business performance. Hello everyone. This is Harry Yang, President of the Medical Device Product Group. First of all, let me talk about our current investment in a company named Golden Spirit. This is for our kidney dialysis business. Golden Spirit specialize in the supplies of alcohol and disinfectant prevention products. This material play an important role in our product portfolio. Golden Spirit will also enhance our business in medical channel as well. We also invested a medical company specialize in dialysis industry in Indonesia. This company has been in dialysis related business about 20 years. With these two new partners, besides products and technology, we also expand channel. Starting from last year, we start to develop business in Thailand. And this year, we will expand our investment in Thailand. Our investment in Indonesia on last Saturday is to expand our business in ASEAN. Outside of China, we shall have a great layout for our business territory. As Bangkok is the central of ASEAN, we may access to both North ASEAN such as Vietnam, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and South ASEAN. In the South ASEAN, Indonesia is the most important one with the largest population of 250 million. Moreover, we also consider that Indonesia government have subsides in dialysis. Beside the market size and dialysis business, we also try to develop an head office of Southeast Asia for MDG. In our strategy, one direction is product and the other is channel. That is our focus. Question 7. Looking forward to the second half of revenue and gross margin, will this year's revenue and gross margin have a chance to continue to enhance as the past few years' trend? I have just talked about the COVID-19 outbreak situation. There are a lot of uncertainties in Europe and the States. Recently we saw this epidemic situation are still in the peak. I would like to address our group view regarding how the second half will be. I've just mentioned that from 2 years ago we made strategic decision to get into 5G, AIoT and medical business. Particularly in the second half, we may see those good results. In the first half, 5G business was not yet added to our revenue. 5G business shall start to contribute in the second half and so as new medical partners. In last year, AIoT business joined the group and contribute significant growth. Those contribution will appear in the second half under the epidemic impact. The second half we are cautiously optimistic. My answer to this question would be second half would be better than the first half. Season by season, it can reflect the results of our strategic plan. Please continue to support us. Question 8. Investor Chen and Chang ask, in the future will Kista continue current M&A strategy? Second, current high value added business revenue reached 22% of total business. How do we reach more than half of business with high value added revenue within 2 years from now? Currently 22% is basically for the first half. We mentioned just now that 5G business will be enhanced to be the high added value revenue. Therefore, Alpha Networks will add high added value revenue. As this aspect of revenue is also relatively big. Per the reported results in the past 2 months, Alpha Networks Group monthly revenue is around NT$ 3 billion. Regarding the actual profit results, please reference announcement from Alpha Networks and Hytron. This contribution in next year shall be significant. Then, the contribution from medical and AIoT business are also increasing, therefore, basically, we may say are getting close to the 2022 goal. Regarding profitability, with more and more high value added revenue, margin performance shall be improved as well. We have confidence that we declare this goal and we will meet schedule. Please wait to see our next consolidated financial results. It will eventually appear in the margin, profit after tax and EPS. Our next team focus is on how to continue enhancing our operation among fleet of battleships. Then, as long as the contribution is with high quality revenue, we will also increase our shares of current fleet of battleships as long as we have a chance. Like our investment in Alpha Networks, we are from 23.8% and through public acquisition to increase to 42.8% in ownership. According to the announcement few days ago, we continue towards 60%. This is our consistent goal. Through these efficient arrangements, most importantly, we are able to present a so-called value transformation in our profits to honor our investors. Question 9. Investor Su and Investor Chang ask about the hospital business. First, is there an IPO plan for hospital business? Second, as the first quarter performance is affected by COVID-19, in the next few quarters, will growth momentum back to original trend? As we explained in the beginning, hospital performance is impacted significantly in the first quarter. This is not only in mainland China. As I know, in February 2020, Taiwan's hospital industry performance is generally below 50% of their normal business. Per my observation, whole industry gradually recovered in March. So far as of June 2020, mainland China's hospital may be at 80% of its results of last year. Taiwan is slightly better than mainland China with 85% to 90% of its results of last year. Because we are luckily in Taiwan, entire COVID-19 control is good. So you can see that most industries in Taiwan are in recovering. In terms of revenue, our two hospitals in Suzhou and Nanjing have already exceeded last year's revenue in June year-on-year. Second half will be back to normal growth trend, but May year-to-month is with negative growth rate. Therefore, the focus in the second half is to recover the missed business in the first half as much as we can. Our hospital performance in the past will probably with 15 to 20% growth every year. In this year, we may be about to maintain as last year or slightly growth than last year. It should be acceptable. After all, the first half is in recession, but we have already back to growth trend. The second quarter is impacted by the outbreak of COVID-19, but our bottom line is back to a relatively health trend. The target is to maintain relatively health performance in 2020. Generally speaking, the IPO plan has not changed. Since business is affected by the COVID-19 and political situation, it is not a good time to IPO. We will observe all aspects of the entire circumstances as we are basically ready for going IPO. The next is to find the best timing. Our objective is to generate optimized benefits to entire Kista Group investors. This concludes this conference. Thank you for your participation.